Bonjour, welcome to the Esports World Cup. I'm pretty sure for all of you guys have been waiting for that MLBB action. Well, we're going to be starting here with the wildcards. My name is Emilafel, I'll be your desk host, and we flew over all the way from Indonesia and Philippines. This is going to be my friends for today. We got Mirko as well as Brigida. We're here at the wildcards. We got 8 best of ones, and then we're doing with the first 4. So first of all, Mirko, how's Parry?
Bro, Parry has been phenomenal, fantastic. You know, we've taken a stroll here and there. I think it's even more. I think it's even more motivation for the players because they've been all around, and if they want to stay here, they gotta make it to the main stage.
Yep. I've seen countless stories of just the views and everything that they've been having so far in terms of their experience here in Paris, and I really feel like all of them would want to extend their stay.
Speaking of which, in case you guys don't know, this is going to be the wild card where only one team will make it through to the main stage. And then at that point, now that's the real deal. For here, we got 9 teams. They'll be facing off against each other for the first 2 days. This is going to be a slugfest. This is going to be 8 best of ones, but then later on, we do move on to a best of 3 later on. But we will talk about that during the format because something that all of us here are going to be looking out for is the change of meta. Because ever since the change, tank junglers coming back, Matilda might be viable, EXP feels open. Like, it's going to be crazy.
And the gold lane hasn't changed at all.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess some things never change, right? It's still mostly the Claws, the Harrods, some of those weak side goal laners. Maybe you can pull off a Moskov. But we've seen some teams actually start pulling off some of those strong side picks. So, again, in the wild card, it's usually the place where we see a lot of more bombastic side of picks.
And there's a reason why we call it the wild card. Who knows if this is the first time we'll ever be seeing the new hero come to play as well. That's
I would love to see Hirara.
Hirara.
I'd love to see Hirara.
Yeah,
For
because
no reason.
Here's the thing. As an analyst, I did the calculation, and one of the, I would say, most punishing things about this meta is actually the jungle, right? Because you would think this is a good patch for the jungle, but actually it is pretty bad because everyone wants your jungle. Like, it gives a lot of EXP, and because of that, it denies a lot of EXP, which is why we were talking about this behind the scenes. I actually think there is a place for Selena just because she clears the camp super fast, making it possible for the first 2 minutes for you to actually establish something. With that being said, we'll see how the wildcard teams actually handle that early game because, I don't know, this is just best of 1. You don't get time to re-prepare to face the same opponent again because you don't get that.
And honestly, since the new patch came out, I think games were just either below 10 minutes or 20 plus minutes long. There is no in between so far.
In the previous Asian game, actually the average game time was 12 minutes.
12 minutes, yeah. It always seems
that's
like
so short.
when we have tanks in the jungle, it's all about mid-prio as well because you want to steal those camps, invade early. It comes down to, I think, a meta we've seen a lot of different times, season 16 mainly, right? You win the early game, you stomp through, build a 10,000 goal lead, and then that's it.
Yeah. So honestly, for this one, we also heard from some of the coaches that they'll just be going for those comfort picks. Now, when we hear comfort picks, it means non-meta, which also comes to the question for them, what is going to be non-meta? Like, the non-meta-ish hero that we've seen just a little bit during the Asian Games was Hanzo with very mixed success.
Yeah.
Like, you can see the idea, but it doesn't really work that well in practice.
Yeah, when you have a coordinated team to deal with it, especially a team with mid-prio, it's very difficult to get that little cheese on the Hanzo early on.
I agree. It feels like some of the more unconventional picks were also just trials. I recall seeing one Balmon game even back in the Asian game qualifiers, and it's understandable why. It also had a recent adjustment, but even then, there were struggles here and there, so you're not really sure just yet.
Yeah, but for now, we got to look at the format explainer video just to see how this wildcard will be running.
Hey.
MSC Wildcard at EWC 2026 marks several firsts. It is the first Tier 1 MLBB international tournament to be hosted on European soil and the first to introduce a one-of-a-kind format. Yet one objective remains: 10 teams will battle through 3 stages for the final spot in the main stage. Teams are first randomly drawn into 2 groups of 5 and compete in a single round-robin format, with all matches played in a best-of-1 series. Every win is crucial, as the first-place team from each group advances directly to the final day of Wildcard, while the last-place team is immediately eliminated. Next comes a cross-group breakout stage, where the third-place teams swap groups and face the fourth-place teams from their respective groups. The winners of those best-of-3 matches then face the second-place teams for a place in the final day of Wildcard. The winners of the cross-group breakout stage will face the first-place teams from the opposite groups in a single elimination best-of-3 bracket. The team that wins both of their matches will earn the opportunity to prove themselves on the main stage of MSC. Which team will surprise us? Which team will taste the agony of falling short? And which team will rise above? 2 champions, 1 game.
So there's a lot of teams in the wild card, but only one team makes it to the main stage. Only one team will get that golden key, right? Because here's the thing, here in EWC, the trophy system, there's actually 4, but we got to talk about that key first. You got to get that key to qualify, but that is precious because if you lose, we're going to see some key crushings. And for the grand champion of them all, they can choose up to 3 of the crushed keys to have on their trophies. It's just EWC here. No one else has done it.
All right, it's one of the best, I think, little tidbits here for EWC. You get to see that crushing, get to see the smiles of these players who've gone through the relentless stage, the cruel stage, and hey, it's a completely new challenge here in the wild card. Going through that entire gauntlet, the group stage placements, especially with best of ones, it's gonna be brutal.
I agree. It's only 4 days here in the wild card, but you're going through 3 different stages. So you have the best of 1 round robins, you have the switch ups in the breakout stage, and you have the finals. So like
the CGBS.
CGBS will be
breakout
the
stage.
Yes, that's the term for it.
What it is.
And of course, for the final day, we're going to have 3 best of 3s, but also for the teams, we got to talk about the club championship as well because they got a big prize pool, and that is the reason why a lot of teams are investing so much in a lot of different games. But with that being said, we got to talk about the wild cards for now. We got to talk about the attending teams. There's about 9 teams here, and again, it's just 1 slot. That's brutal, man, because in them 7 we got 2 slots. This time it's just 1.
Yeah, in the past we've always 2 slots, so to see now that the wild card slots. So to see now that the wild cards will only have 1 slot, it's really going to get relentless here.
Yep. So now in Group A, we have FT Esports, King of Gamers, KOG Alpha 7, the Mongol, as well as Victory Song Gamers VSG. For Group B, we got Nightmare Esports, Sunset Ravens, the Hung Esports, as well as Team Falcons Mena. So yes, we have 1 more team in Group A, but again, for today and tomorrow, it's gonna be just best of 1s.
Yep.
Later on, when we go to the CGBS, then we switch it up.
I know some of you may consider that Group A is the group of death, quote unquote, and it's understandable why. So many teams that you're seeing right here have made really remarkable runs in their respective regions, whereas in terms of Group B, I think this is a group we're all looking forward to just because we're seeing a lot of newer names and emerging regions.
Yeah, I think the Group B is, it's safe to call them the group of life if the group Group A is group of death, right? It really just seems like for Group B, they can really experiment a lot of times here. They gotta run through the gauntlet anyways, but they can find some little wins here and there when it comes to comfort picks and cheese picks. Again, wildcard, that's the stage to do it.
Yeah, very revitalizing. We'll be looking at the brackets here just to see, we're going to be looking at a prize pool just to see what everyone is fighting for. This is the total prize pool, 260K. 1 mil for first place. I believe this is one is for MLB just in general. But yeah, a lot has to be talked about. For today, I think it's going to establish-ish an EWC meta just to see like what everyone is feeling. Because something that we do have to say, most of the wildcard teams, they got here because of their assassin junglers. Do they stick with that? Or they're like, okay, you know what? It's not good enough. We're going to be looking at the schedule just to roughly see who might still go with the assassin junglers, who might go for the tanks. Again, 8 best of 1. So we're going to be checking out the schedule very, very soon. I don't know. I feel like sometimes assassin jungles might work, but that's the key word, sometimes.
Okay.
I think the one time we'll see those assassin junglers might be in our first match, man.
Yeah.
Foot Esports, the Mongols, both have really gotten a lot of wins through those assassin jungles for Kazue and Zixora, respectively.
Yeah, for the next 3, or maybe especially for the 4th, because we're seeing Team Falcon's Mena, I think that's where I'm really expecting the utilities to come in. All those tanky frontliners who've just recently got buffed to just really show up, because I think that's been Team Falcons and their specialty ever since. And also, whether or not they could actually shake off a lot of the impressions that they've left previously in their recent international appearances.
Yep. And again, we have 8 best of 1s. We're going to continue on forward. Mongols, VSG, Hung Esports going up against Team Falcon Meta, Mongols, KOG, and then ending off with Foot Esports going up against VSG. That one we're going to be having Gideon as well as Naisu on the desk just to help us out. But yeah, I agree with Mirko. Maybe the first one we'll be seeing those assassins. So far, I've seen teams try out different things. Ling has not worked.
No.
That cannot. Like with Akai running around with Frederick running around, that's not possible. I believe I've seen one rare saber. No, that was not even good. That was a different one.
That's Empil Indo right there, Albert.
Yeah. No, even in Malaysia.
Yeah. Hazel.
Hazel, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Shout out to my boy Hazel.
I think I actually see a bit more Yi Sun Shin.
Ooh.
Which I can see the reason why, right? Like, as long as you scale long enough, you delay the game long enough, you know, double marksman, it still works out well, especially because Hive and Claude are just so strong. Especially the Claude, mostly because it's hard to catch the guy.
Yeah, if you have a solid front line already, good mid prio, I think the Yi Sun Shin, those carries in the jungle can still make an appearance here, especially considering, again, yeah, it's really no in between. It's either you steamroll the game or you play super late, wait for your carries to scale. So if you have a Yi Sun Shin, Yves, Claude with 2 really tanky boys in XP and Rome, that's the way to do it.
Oh, speaking of, maybe just some Lilia as well, because there's so many front lines that Lilia just destroys them.
Valir.
Valir, yeah.
Which I also think plays a huge role, because if steamrolling and just getting that early snowball matters so much, then it'll be really difficult if you get to the point where you need to just fight for the objectives overall, because the junglers that we're seeing right now have just so many ways to guarantee these wins in terms of the objective takes. So objective fights have been a lot more tricky this time.
So right now, let's actually focus on the teams that will actually be starting the wildcards here. Let's talk about Mongols, because for both Mongols as well as FUT Esports, they're kind of the wildcard specialists in the previous M series. They made it through to the wildcard, both these teams. But again, this time it's just one team. So let's talk about the Mongols, right? Some of the players are there. Zixora, the Coach Summer, and K. Yeah.
I don't know. It's always really weird to see, these shakeups in lineups, both Boostgate and Zone, the 2 winners from M7 wildcards. Now they're swapping things up, and yeah, the Mongols, I still think they're still kind of a slower team. They need a lot of time to build up. They got that download time as usual, just kind of a signature for Mongolian teams. And for Foot, they like starting it quick all the way from the start. It's all about tempo. It's all about that aggression. And they were able to get 6 games in the grand finals up against the clear favorites in MTC Aurora.
Yeah, and the last time they met, and that was then Boostgate, they actually won against them. So I think there will be some revenge that they would definitely want to get. Or they're no longer Boostgate, but you see their cores.
Some of the players there,
part of this current lineup of FUT Esports. And I think that's really what matters a lot, because FUT, by the moment that they came into MLBB, that was such a wise decision to make. Just picking up the cores of Boostgate, who had a really impressive run in their last appearance.
But again, I kind of feel like we just got to talk about the Mongols just a little bit more. We will be looking more forward towards Zixora. But yes, now we're looking at FUT. We're thinking that they will be the ones starting off stronger here, at least in the early and mid.
Yeah, I rated them as the 2nd top team here, as the 2nd best team in the wildcards. And looking at them, talking to them a couple of times as well, Kazue, Foot Esports in general, all of them are just so confident. They walked up to me, Kazue with his phone. He's like, yo, Miracle, do you think I'm going to make it through Wildcard? And I'm like, dude, you were number 2 in my list. Number 1's gone, so I think you will,
yeah.
man. Yeah, so, yeah, again, this is a very experienced lineup. They went 6 games against Aurora Gaming, who've been fantastic even in M7.
Yeah. And I wonder how much of an impact will their change in terms of the mid-duo make? Because I know for a fact that these 2 players, especially in the current metagame, would really matter so much. And that's what they decided to really switch up before heading into Wildcard.
Yeah, so honestly, looking at this lineup between Mongols as well as FUT, we're going to be more so looking at the draft. Then we can really have a clear picture just to say who's good and who's bad. Like, personally for me, people have been prioritizing the Boxia, Fredrin, as well as the Akai. Honestly, I'm more annoyed with the Akai. Just because of the steal potential of the early game. Like, sure, Fredrin is fun. A lot of chain CC just by himself. He doesn't need no help. And Boxia giving that early life bane just to make it so that sometimes you can see Zushin rushing that Sky Piercer, not even going for the glowing wand. So each jungler, I believe, for this meta really has a mid pairing, right? Yeah. I feel like Boxia Zushin is so strong.
Boxia Kimi even.
Boxia Kimi. Fredrin, honestly, like, who doesn't like Fredrin?
Yeah.
Your opponents.
That's
just
true.
them.
He's a good all-rounder, man. So everybody has their own strengths, and I agree. Objectives really are very, very important in this current meta, but it then comes down to the players and their play styles.
Yeah.
If they're more of a brawly team, if they love going in, playing those brawls, long brawls, they can't really utilize those Akais.
Yeah.
They have to go for more of those Bakshas, more of those tempo picks.
I feel like Akai is an amazing pick if you have an amazing gold leaner.
And if you're disciplined enough to make those abilities work, because you're very reliant on a cycle.
I agree. It's more on what you're used to playing around with to or against, because I think for me, I'm so used to seeing these boxes in terms of play styles. Yeah. But the Akai just destroys all of that.
Yep.
It's a circle.
It's a spinning circle. So
Yeah.
it doesn't allow you to set up that box.
It's a Beyblade, yeah. So definitely, I gotta say, it's going back to maybe 2023 era of MLBB, where just like 3 front lines and try to see who has more crowd control to punish those front lines, and then hoping for your mid and your goal laner to just not mess up. And that's why we see picks like the Gorid and etc. Even against divers from the EXP, most of the time they do survive.
That's the thing, and that's why I think the highest skills...
Skill expression?
The highest skill ceiling you need in a team now is in that XP.
I agree.
If you have a great XP, person on my right knows a great XP.
Yeah. I wonder who. But yeah, I feel like let's list down those great EXP heroes that can dominate this meta.
Paquito.
Vendetta.
Yuzong.
All those heroes
Lapu
belong to someone that we know.
Alice is not damage E, but still very, very strong, right? As long as you can dive to the back line. But we see in the current meta, there's still a lot of Terizlas, a lot of Phovias.
Blues
but again,
even.
But here's
sometimes.
the thing. I feel like if you pick up a tank EXP, it's super unsafe with the Yuzong roaming around.
Yeah. So gone are the days where we'll be considering a Uranus in the EXP.
Like, at least not first pick. Like, if you know who you're going up against, then okay, sure.
Yeah, if there's no Shred, if there's no Baksha early on, then maybe we can still see some of those, tanky boys that just can prolong those fights, especially considering it's all about cycles, right? If you have an Akai. So if you have someone like a Uranus who can just bait out those cycles and then come back, you can still control neutral objectives really well. And if you're playing tempo, if you're talking about that Selena pick that we saw in Asian games as well, then Uranus is a great pick to just get tempo early.
Especially because if I remember correctly, during the Asia games, when we do see a Uranus, it was a red 4 pick. By that time, there was
never first phase.
There was no carry, I believe, in that game. I believe it was a Harif, and basically no one could kill the Uranus. Even 5-man gank the Uranus, he'll get away, and his team just get 2 turrets for free.
Okay, now that makes me a bit more confused, because it's like nowadays we did talk about this off stream. It's more on the Claudes and the Harrods. And maybe the Moscovs next, but the carry?
Yeah, like
the carry fits in if you can play that box.
In the Asian games, Teddy, amazing on that carry. Basically just carried the entire team. Like even during the cast, I feel like Nepomuceno needs to step up. Vinny needs to step up. Because Teddy's amazing.
I agree.
Yeah.
Guy's overrated, I prefer Carl and Sanford over those two you mentioned.
Yeah. 40 is amazing, man.
I don't know, man. King Bob or Alabu is better.
You know what?
Yeah.
You're right. King Bob. King Bob. He has King in his name. And Bob.
I need to use the cuff button.
You don't need to
You don't need to
mention
tell
the
us.
coffee,
You
you
just
know?
do
You just
it.
do it. Yeah.
So, Briggs, what is your take on the EXP?
You know
Yeah.
a lot about XP.
You know a lot about EXP.
No, I agree. I feel like it's one of the most.
Oh, we're starting. We have the Harara.
What?
Whoa, whoa, whoa, okay,
Sexora, brother.
Let's talk about the draft here. Mongols first pick, FUT second pick. The map is going to be Dangerous Grass. The Phovius, Kalia, and Valentina banned by Mongols. Freya, Matilda, as well as Baxia banned by FUT. Now go on.
I love the fact that we were, teasing the fact that Mongols, they're the calculated boys. They don't want to go early on. They want to download their opponents. And Foot, on the other hand, they're aggressive.
Yep.
They're not too calculated. They want to go and, just shine on their mechanics, but it's the complete opposite if we see it in the drafts, right? It's Mongols with all the individual flair, even a Hirara in the first phase.
Yeah.
And Foot, this is what we expect the Mongols to go for. Objective heavy comp.
Yeah, just like imagine how the interaction could potentially go. Like,
Oh,
I know
Novaria.
the Hirara is just so flexible. He has the capability to keep herself immune, but that's already an Atlas and an Akai.
Wait.
Wow.
Is this for you? Why did they ban the Novaria? There's already an Atlas. There's already a Zushin. I don't know if there's a misban or anything because you already have the mid and the roam. So where else would the Novaria go? Unless FUT just has some crazy strat like, I don't know, Novaria Gold?
Wait, that's true, yeah.
I mean, Tezet is known to have his, very
out of the box.
interesting picks.
Yeah,
You know,
okay.
if you know, you know. This is the guy who brought up like a Kufra jungle back in the day as well for High when he was coaching Aura Season 8, Season 9. So you can expect a lot more crazy picks here from Foot.
Well, Claude has been banned out. Bricks, the last ban here coming in from Mongols.
Isn't it crazy to see that the Claude is banned all the way and the Marcel as well
Yeah.
towards the end? When we were talking about it backstage, we were talking about Marcel Claude being first phase
I
picks.
mean, like, look at Mongols pick. Paquito,
The
the
Prio has
Gord.
been-
Hirara's
Yeah.
the new one, but I still think the opener is pretty good for both teams. FUT a little bit less for me.
I know we talked about like cheese strats and best of ones, but I never expected it to be this kind of.
Maybe it's not a cheese. Maybe this is their perfect strike, because let's put this into context, right? Both of these teams are the favorites because they've done it before, right? They faced each other before, and now they're batting out the Obsidia. The Hive is still open, but maybe that's not a concern for them.
Oh,
I guess not. The Moscov's a
Moskov.
great pick. They need someone to just deal a lot of damage, but also not be reliant on just a cycle of skills. The Harrow's a pretty good choice, but I think I like this a little bit better,
Yep.
Just constant DPS coming through. And then the XP later, I think is going to be a damage one. We've seen
It
that
has to
matchup.
be. It has to be.
The Arlet fits.
Yeah,
This-
100%.
I can't see if they really want to set up a box still with this kind of draft. Because they have very high mobility heroes, maybe apart from the Gord.
Oh, wow. Even the Grok comes in here.
What?
Wait, was it a Grok? I mean, the Grok... I guess the
So
Grok
it's-
just showed himself.
If they want to go fast, Mongols, I do want to see if they have a very early roamer, like maybe even a Cho, so that you can evade. But again, going up against an Akai Zushin, kind of
Also,
not
it's
the
a
best
Grok
of idea.
Ranger.
Grok Ranger.
Huh.
A skill-based marksman hasn't been working that well unless you're a Harv. So very interesting to see how this Ranger is gonna play out.
Yeah, it really just seems like Mongols have taken Foot Esports' aggression, right? Because it's all about snowballing in the early game here.
I would
for
like
them.
to use Zom, but I don't know if that's in their repertoire.
So this is assuming the jungle and roam already, right? So it is the EXP that we're looking for,
Yep.
despite
Yep.
the Novaria ban.
Maybe even Benedetta wouldn't be bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of damage EXP should work here. Like, you have a Zushin, Akai, and an Atlas. You kind of don't need any more defense.
Yeah, it's not the best matchup against the Paquito unless your name is King Bob Vanuya, one of those guys. But
Don't fight the Paquito. What's so
Yeah,
hard about that?
Exactly. I mean, a lot easier said than
Sora.
done.
Oh,
They go for
Sora.
just even
Yeah.
more CC. They're just trying to overwhelm the Mongols with crowd control. Man, look at the amount of crowd control they got.
I mean, like,
Exactly.
personally, my thoughts, in the first phase of that turtle, as long as no aggression happens in the first 2 minutes, I feel like FUT has got it, especially if the sword just dives in with the lightning form. They should have enough damage and heal to secure that turtle. But with that being said, we're going to be throwing it over for Mirka and Brigida to cast this game, Mongols against FUT. You guys got this.
Thank you so much, Lafel. We are now officially heading into the first best of one that we're having here in the wild cards of MSC 2026. A lot of surprises, especially as we came into the draft, approaching the second half already. Surprised to see the Hiraras, even the bans heading into the second phase were a lot of surprise for us, but man, how are we feeling about this? It's a lot of crowd control on the other side, and a team fight that could get just really messy on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm looking on paper, I definitely got to side with Foot on the drafts, man. It just seems like this is the standard that what we've seen, you know, the standard for what we've seen from our own leagues as well. But Mongols, again, they're coming into the best of one thinking comfort. We've seen a lot of that. We've heard a lot of that word recently in interviews as well.
I'm so curious if Zixora already considers the Hirara as comfort, though. Like, for you to be confident enough to pull it out in your first series. Oh, speaking of,
it looks pretty comfortable on it so far, but this is the problem without the Hirara early on. Once, well, where do you don't have cooldown? It's going to get really tough. XC burns out the flicker, tries to go in, but the Lantern Flare knocks Ox up. It's going to be Kazuma with the rotation as well. Ox, he's going to have to flicker out to safety. Psyche, no mana to take him down.
What do we say about Mongols wanting to be the more disciplined or careful team? That's like a very brawly start to this game number 1. Well, understandable. That's one of the more common rotations you're seeing, especially considering that they're still sticking with a quote-unquote assassin jungler. I think you would consider the Hirara an assassin still. But then Foot, they were so aggressive to fight back. That was a flicker burned by Xe early on.
Yeah. They really wanted to get that kill early, man. They really wanted to stop the snowball from happening here for Zixora. Great start to the game for Foot, I'd say, man. Again, with the Hirara, you're just constantly going to have to take it in an early game. You're not going to have enough cooldowns to just spam your skills. But look at this rotation quickly into the bottom lane. They're playing that strong side, as we mentioned. Zixora. Zoning RX. Retri even going to go for Zixora. Zoning RX. Retri even going to go for the kill. RX has to flicker out early.
Survive that. But then it seems like Mongols had their eyes set on the bottom side of the map. Could this be the approach? They do not want to fight FUT Esports in terms of objectives, considering that that's an Akai, and he's already an entire level ahead of Zixora because of that rotation.
I love the approach, though, you know? It's kind of like Mongols know that Foot will have the lead early on when it comes to neutral objective battles, so they try to go for the strong side, gold lane. K helping him out. A lot of damage plays down with the perfect match. It'll force out a flicker from K, but I think that should be it.
Yeah. Mongols are quick to sense that there could be something happening right after that objective take. Look at Kazue. He's just showing himself. Still, the level gap exists. And there are going to be in the slight advantage against Foot, but K, no flicker left for K.
Yeah, the problem with the strong side gold lane is if you leave him, yeah, the hard CC and tanky boys are just going to get him out. No flicker, as you mentioned, Brigida. It was just such an easy kill, and they didn't even need to use any ults aside from the SOD.
Yeah, we haven't seen Bloodspit really use that Fatal Links just yet. Not even the heavy spin, because there was no contest whatsoever to that objective that we saw. And now they take half of the energy shields down bot. RX is having a really good time. Ox doesn't have level 4 yet.
But look at Zixora. Again, something that we kind of know from him is that he's very sporadic. He knows how to think on the go, and he's already seen that rotation go straight up top, plays with the strong side that he has in XP to take the orange buff, and this means Kazue is going to be behind in XP despite getting Turtle 1.
Oh, that was quick for Mongols to catch up, and now it's Foot who's just mostly staying down bottom. They get to find Ox isolated here, though.
Lantern Flare. Oh, the perfect match. Even a body. Oh, wait a second. Kazue with the heavy spin straight up.
The Spear of Misery kind of helped him there, too.
Yeah, that was a bit of miscoordination.
So I feel like this time we'll see the EXP laners actually be part of this upcoming fight. Let's see how it goes, because Mongols this time might actually contest. But we're seeing Zixora just starting to make his way.
Zixora.
There is no heavy spin, though.
Oh, Psyche popping Crimson Beacon. Good shifting claws and a pickup as well on Mumu. As it lands, great Mystic Gush with the knockup with the Tectonic Charge. Zixora gets a kill on Xe. And it's RX trying to run away now, as that's going to be the cutoff as K rotates over. Mumu takes Bloodsped out, and it's a free neutral objective for the Mongols.
Okay, Foot probably did not want to be in that position. They just made things so much easier for Ox and Mikey. Mikey didn't have to put himself out there in danger to use that Mystic Gush, and that was a quick way to just use the Tech Charge. Now it's Mongols stealing away that small lead that Foot had earlier.
And Mongols are just using that aggression so well. They're forcing Foot to play those team fights. Foot, you got a composition to play neutral objectives. You can't be brawling early on, and a few of those abilities.
Yeah, I think it's Mongols who's capable of finding those kinds of pickoffs in the mid before the objective rather than Foot. Foot might want to just really fight the objectives head on, and especially considering that earlier they did not have the heavy spin. We mentioned it, but they still decided to go for the fight.
Those cycles are very important, especially for Foot, because if you don't have the shifting skies, oh god, wait, Makey. Good projectile, man. So much poke coming on. Psyche. Zixora steals a camp away from Kazue. Panda's walking up, though. He's very tanky.
This is interesting because I feel like Mongols, their lineup doesn't really require you to just go full commit. They're fighting it with range because of the Granger and the Gourd. And the ability of both the Paquito and the Hirara to just go in and out is helping them so much and just baiting out stuff from Foot Esports. Okay, gotta be safe. But going back, Foot, I feel like this time, they're the ones struggling to find their footing. Like, when are they going to come into a fight? And when are Mongols actually going to fight back? Or when are they just baiting them out? Because they are capable of doing that.
I don't know. Right now, it just seems like Mongols have Foot's number. Again, they're going to use a Lantern Flare. Perfect match on Ox. If they can bait out the tech charge, that'll be big for them. And actually go for the heavy spin. The tech charge comes around. And a flicker out. Psyche! Crimson Beacon, the SOD lands. It's Psyche with a kill. Mumu into the mid.
Okay. Oh, now that's a Fatal Link set up!
Great call into the shifting skies. Now Mumu picked up as well. Zixora in the midst of it all trying to go damage. Trying to go damage some of those members, but XC zones them away, and this is a Foot win. They go to the turtle, the last one of the game.
It's interesting though, because it still feels like they used up so much just to get those small wins, when in fact I felt like it would have been easier for them considering the amount of crowd control and how low effort this draft overall could have been for them. But at least they've got that advantage just now and are able to convert it into a structure up top.
Oh, good zone.
But I can't believe it's been 7 minutes before we actually see that happen, because they're with the Moskov all this time.
Yeah. I don't know about going all in on Kazue. They just going for a bit of poke. Zixora with a rotation in mid. Psyche taking up a lot of damage.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's like the fullest potential you could see from Zixora. Just
Wait,
but
what?
he's trapped.
Yeah, Zixora waits. 2-4 gets caught in the Fatal Links. Thrown back to the rest of Foot.
I think that's the second time we saw a favorable team fight just because of a mistake.
Yeah, that's the thing about the Hirara though, right? Like, once you have enough cooldown, you just think you're untargetable, you can just make those risky plays happen and it just bites you back.
These team fights need to be a bit more calculated, I'd say, for both sides. Oh, that's going to be a setup on Ox.
Yeah, baits out the tectonic charge. There's no Fatal Links, but they're going to get the pickup. Ox, no flicker. This should just be a free kill as Kazue knocks him up and picks up the kill.
That's happened twice now. It's been successful. We do see some, I'd say, quote-unquote, questionable targetings and priorities in terms of the recent team fights. But because of that, the back and forth has been on for so long. Like, we barely see a significant lead in this fight.
Yeah, and it's still so surprising, despite, you know, the last two team fights going in favor of Foot, that Mongols are actually still ahead in gold. They've been farming really, really well, and it's been because they have had better control over the side lanes, which is weird to hear, but there you go. Mumu with the knockout strike. RX gonna cut him off with the help of Blotsfet. He's already used a perfect match. Lord is spawning in the bottom lane. Mumu. Yeah, he's just gonna get chain CC. The Spear of Misery pins him down. He tries to get out with a flicker, but the Lantern Flare is on him. It's a Sky Piercer as he goes for the Crimson Beacon. Makey caught in the bad spot. SOD lands in the back. RX gets the Spear of Misery, pins him down, goes under turret, and it's all fed to the Sky Piercer. And Maniac for Psyche. escape? Could we see it a Savage on day one, match one? Ox, can you escape? The Lancer Flare is on him. Psyche gets a Savage on day one of the wild card.
Day one and game one at that. We're seeing a Savage in as early as that. And can I just say, the ones who were the more aggressive in that team fight and the ones who put themselves up front were not Blotsfeth nor Kazooie. It was just really RX and Psyche. They knew that they were that much ahead. They knew that they were in that kind of advantage just with Mumu out of the picture. And now it's an immediate objective for FUT. It's interesting though. Okay, let's see that instant replay. Psyche, my god.
I don't know, it was kind of also Mongols though. They did not need to back Mumu up all the way there. No one saw that. Don't point it out. No. Why you step back? No, man. No one saw that tech charge, all right? I can't even make Bigatron jokes anymore.
This is why we are saying that there needs to be a bit more calculation from their part. It demands so much more just because of the kind of draft that they decided to go with. Now, Foot, this is where we expected them to be. This is exactly how they play this out. The amount of crowd control, actually in that recent team fight, they didn't even have to use much of it just because they were just going all in terms of the damage. I feel like that's another thing. You feel a lot more of the damage coming from this tanky lineup of Foot rather than of Mongols at this point. So they're really making sure that they're using it to their advantage. And at least for now, Mongols are defending and weirdly enough, still in the lead.
Yeah. I think it's not that accurate. Blotsfeth, though, goes in with perfect match. They're trying to go for the zone. Psyche, an absolute monster, brings Mumu back. And it's a flicker, burn down. Ox.
Again.
Goes for the tech charge. Oh, no! You hate to see fatal leads from Blotsfeth! Gets him down, K! Oh, no! Psyche gets another double! A disaster for the Mongols as they're gonna have to take 3 of their members out and about as just Sixora and Meiki left to defend.
This should be full stack Sky Piercer for Psyche, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that just explains why you could barely get out alive once you're in that kind of position if you're the Mongols. This is very tough and risky if you're the Mongols. With very little crowd control and just mostly Ox, and by the way, it's always been Ox that they've been targeting first, I could barely see an opportunity for the Mongols to turn this around with a team fight win.
Yeah, it's a composition that really relies on them winning out early game, you know, snowballing on control and then relying on their individual flair. Now, I'm not saying it can't happen, but we've seen 2 Brock ultimates go.
Yeah, but that's the thing, they
out
always...
of Right? It's landed on.
I thought you didn't see that.
I didn't see the first one.
Okay.
But then the replay showed me. LaFell saw all of it.
Yeah, I really want to know how LaFell feels about everything right now because it's just day one, game one. But
he has a thumbs up.
Is it a thumbs up?
Yeah. If you've watched Project Hail Mary, that's a good thing, right? Like, yeah.
We get to talk to him later, but for now we gotta really talk to the Mongols and Foot, maybe especially the Mongols, and how they're really dealing with everything right now. Let's take a quick look at the items. Okay.
Let's not.
It's not.
Let's just talk about the game. The Lord spawning.
Okay.
And that's not the new Lord, you know? The new Lord, like, it kind of gets players to go for the Lord.
Diva.
Yeah. It's like, now as a player, I want to go for Lord. 13-3, now we see the actual goal lead. It is... Oh, I don't know if this is comebackable. We've had that term, geekable. Do you think it's geekable?
Well, I, at this point, could not see it coming for now. Like, even Ox, they've just been very aggressive. Psyche, this is where you really want to see your Juicin come to play. He's the one in charge of all the zoning right now. It's like Blotsfest will just go in for a late entry and surprise everyone. Ooh. And that's the last thing you'd want to see if you're the Mongols.
Yeah.
Oh my god, all of their flickers are still intact. You could already imagine what kind of game-ending plays they could attempt to go for with this Lord Seed.
Let's give it to the Mongols a bit. They do have clear. I don't want to say if it's good or bad. They got
They have
clear with the gourd.
They have gourd.
But then I look at the Granger and it's like, yeah, you're not that good at clearing. The Hirara is like, she's bad in, oh god, no damage to Exi as well.
I'm looking for the damage too, but...
Maybe you just look at different things when you look at the Hirara, you know. Exi trying to walk up. They're going to go for the mid lane siege here. Oh, RX is piercing through that turret onto Ox and K. And the base turret down below has already fallen.
Okay. Blotsfist looks like he wants to do something. But let's see. They still have to clear out the waves.
Yeah,
oh, he's already below half HP. Oh!
Oh, Fatal Links onto back both of the frontliners, and they get caught in the heavy spin. That's the pin down immobilization already. Zixora gets away, but Psyche's just tearing them apart. Zixora's trying to gap close now. He goes immobilized. Oh, but Psyche is unkillable. Picks the Hirara up. Zixora's walking up again, trying to go for the clear again. Untargetable for a bit. But it's still Psyche just zoning all of them, and they've lost no members.
Okay, they're still dealing with it. Sora and Kay still left to defend. Still have an entire wave to deal with, but Sora is down. Kay back in the fountain, but what can he do? It's just gonna be a game number 1, or the only game in this best of 1. Going over to Foot Esports.
It's over for game 1. Foot Esports getting the revenge that they've desperately been waiting for since that M7 wildcard where they lost to a Mongolian team. Team Zone, Kay, Zixora, they showed them how it's done, but today it seems like it's a Foot day.
Want to introduce me in? Oh, I'm in.
Hey!
So first of all, let's just say congratulations to FUT for winning that one. But my TLDR, my summary of this game, the reason why Mongols win and lose is because of their mechanics. Because the only time that they won in a team fight was that incredible tech charge into the Mystic Gush.
Yeah.
But then after that, any kind of team fight, we've seen mistakes coming in from Zixora. We've seen mistakes coming in from, of course, the Grog from Alp. So I really feel like this might be one of those situations where you probably just need to warm up just a little bit, because there was a lot of unnecessary situations where I believe Mongols had the kit to outplay that, but that just didn't happen. But when we're talking about a draft, Ranger is not really one of those geekable heroes, because it's a hero that heavily relies on the Skypiercer stacks.
What if you get 40 Skypiercer stacks in the last team fight?
That's good enough.
Yeah.
That's good enough. But compared to basic attack heroes that just needs that Trinity, they're more reliable. So I would say in this game, it's all about execution from the Mongols. And the good thing that I can say is that you're not eliminated right now, right? As long as you make it to top 4, that's still fine. So, hey, maybe a warm-up after this, they might look better.
Yeah, because there was a clear game plan from them anyway. Like, you saw their first rotation, them just deliberately letting go of the objective and wanting to focus their resources onto one lane. But after that rotation, I feel like we no longer got to see the idea anymore, because we got to see like the team fights that
feels
were
a bit
accidental.
autopilot-y, honestly.
Yeah,
It doesn't feel planned.
It really didn't, man, because at the Granger with the Gourd as well, you get 2 very vulnerable backliners, but then there's no tank up forward, right? It's just Ox on the Grok. He's mainly an initiation tool, and then the Paquito is kind of there to deal damage, because if you look at the build, it was a Hunter Strike C Halberd.
Yep.
Usually, if you want to go for a bit of tankier build, you go for maybe Fury Hammer straight into the Queen's Wings and then full tank, so that you can provide a bit more utility for your backliners, but okay.
Let's talk about the Savage as well, right?
Taiki.
Game 1 at what, 9 minutes of the game, and we're starting to see something change here in terms of the items, because as a roamer, I haven't built Dominance Ice for a long time. If I build it, you know my team is bad. Let me just say that. Right? And even in that game, they didn't build Glowing One early item, because again, the sustain isn't from healing. It's just nothing really, right? And so they didn't have to cut anything in half.
Yeah. They got a lot of untargetables.
Right?
And like,
so the first item, just get the Skypiercer, then the Ice Queen's one, and then having the Blood Wings, just to make sure that you can stay there and deal the damage.
Yeah, I think that's very MVP worthy for Psyche too.
If you get a Savage you didn't get an MVP, I'll be upset.
sometimes actually, there are times where the Savage guy is just shooting in the back and not doing too much.
But this one
Psyche.
Look at the skill expression of holding down the second skill.
Dang.
And then moving it left a bit, right a bit as you move your joystick. Like, Who can do that?
And when he got that, it wasn't
Moreno.
really set up by
The maestro, my goat. Thanks for the
Sorry.
mention.
It wasn't really set up by Blotzfest or Kazue or anyone. It was just him.
It was set up by Mongols.
Yes.
Am I wrong? Okay, let's look
You're
at this replay, right?
Oh
This is
my
one of the only times we see good skill expression coming in from the Mongols, and then the team fight looks good. The team fight looks clean. And we cannot say that FUT, they played amazingly because they also made mistakes by expending the skills, and then even we're like, wait, what's going on? But the Mongols just didn't respond well enough to capitalize on those mistakes, and just being like, even in this situation, Mumu, honestly, if he just stayed there, there's a high chance he could have just escaped.
Yeah.
He had the flicker, he could have flickered out and then just double jabbed all the way back to his team, but he didn't do that.
We didn't see that.
Oh, I saw that plenty times. I'll see it in my dreams tonight.
Okay. Will you
As
see
a-
Psyche Savage?
As a roamer, that hurts.
Yes, it does. It's
I've done it plenty of times, but it still hurts.
Shh. Look.
Oy, I didn't see
What
that
am I
the first time.
Oh, you actually didn't see that the first time. I didn't see the first one the first time.
She's
And then
not
the
wearing her
replay.
glasses.
I'm wearing contacts.
Not as good as glasses.
Sure. That
Okay.
works, but this, right? I mean, to go two flickers
And the
in the back
shifting
with no
skies.
frontliner, it's kind of like, we're better than you. That's
Yeah.
literally what they thought, right? Like, you have to have that respect. You're up against a composition that is just full CC, dude. If you don't get caught by the Atlas, you're going to get caught by the Sora. If that doesn't happen, then the Panda's going to spin at you.
And this is the lineup. If you don't get like 3,000 gold lead by the first 2 minutes, you're kind of done. Because Gort, once he's finished his skills, then what? Ranger, once he finishes skills, then what? Hirara is pretty fast to finish her skill and no damage. And then what?
Yeah.
Right? It's just a composition where you kind of want to blow everything instantly and hope it's enough. And, you know, newsflash, usually isn't.
Because I think even the sides weren't able to accomplish much in that game. Like Mumu, not that he was held in lane by his counterpart, by Xe, but whenever he did try to go or catch up to the fights, it's a bit too late.
Yeah.
Or like Ox is already gone, and what can he do as the only other quote-unquote frontline when he actually went for damage build?
Yeah.
Well, so far we've seen Hirara in the game hasn't been performing so well so far. We got 7 more best of ones for today. So who knows? Maybe someone else wants to give it a shot. Maybe.
Please don't.
I don't know. It's
Whenever
very
you play,
risky.
whenever you play Hirara, it just feels like it's a tickling contest, you know? Yeah, because you're not doing any damage to any of the tanks. The tanks are just gonna stop it, bro.
Yeah.
It's just a little annoying.
You're kind of hoping that your goal laner is like, I don't know, Kelra?
Eman, bro.
Aemon.
My goat.
Yeah.
So even if you try to go for... No, did we actually see him reach the squishy targets? I can't recall.
Here's the thing. We might know a little bit more if we talk to Foot themselves, but we're not going to be talking to them. Eterna is standby there. So let's see what Eterna has to say with FUT Esports.
Ask about Hirara, please.
Eterna here. Thank you so much, casters. And of course, I'm here with Kazue for the Kadia City interview. So once again, congratulations for this first best of one. How did it feel to find this victory here in the city of Paris?
Güzel bir turnuva. İlk maçı oynadığımız için gayet mutlu hissediyorum açıkçası. Güzel bir maçtı. Hatalarımız var. Daha iyi olacak. Burada olduğum için çok mutluyum. Bu kadar.
It was good to play the first match, and we also win the first match. That's also make us very happy, and we love the city, and we want to go to the main stage.
Okay.
We did little mistakes, but we will fix them in the next matches.
And we're excited to see your next few matches. Now, your first opening match here, it looked like a little bit of a revenge story because technically they were the ones to knock you out at M7 Swiss stages. How does it feel to find this win against them?
Mutlu hissediyorum çünkü gerçekten geliştiğimizi hissettim. Yeni rosterımızla beraber daha iyi olduğumuzu düşünüyorum. M7'den sonra kendimizi geliştirdik ve gerçekten bunun karşılığını görmek beni çok mutlu ediyor. Kendilerine çok saygı duyuyorum.
We respect them, but we changed our roster, and now I feel like we really improved ourselves from last tournament, and we are also happy about it. We also respect them too.
We're seeing that. A very decisive victory there in that first game. Now, we have a question from Mirko. I think you're familiar with him. He's asking, were you surprised with the Hirara pick coming through today?
Yani evet, o piki beklemiyorum açıkçası. Şu an çünkü metada tanky jungle seçiliyor. Ve Hirara'nın turnuvalarda çok iş yapacağını düşünmüyorum. Çünkü bence güçlü ama ranked da güçlü. turnuvalarda iş yapacağını düşünmüyorum şu an için. Çünkü meta biraz değişti ve hero'lar çok slow dönüyor bence. Yavaş dönüyor ormanlara.
Actually, I was not expecting the pick. I think this hero is a ranked hero, not a competitive matches, and I don't think any other player will play this character next of the tournament.
Okay. So the first time we've seen the Harara and it doesn't look like it's doing too great. Maybe stick to ranked games, right? All right, Kazue, final question. You are going to be up against VSG next. Do you have a message perhaps for that team?
Biz onlarla aynı bölgede olduğumuz için onlarla çok fazla scrim atıyoruz. Bizim scrim partnerimiz. Onları seviyorum, saygı duyuyorum. Güzel rakip. İnşallah biz kazanırız.
Because we are of the same region, we did a lot of scrims against them, and we love them, we respect them, we wish them luck, but I hope we will win today.
Okay, we'll see if you guys are going to make the win. But once again, congratulations for your first victory. We'll see you later on. And we're going to throw it over back to our casters to maybe break down some of what Kazue said earlier. Let's go.
Thank you very much, Eterna, as well as Kazui. So, yeah, Hirara, let's just keep it in rank. It's not competitive just yet. And, you know, I think he said this is a 10-key meta. Don't know why he picked that up. I understood what he was saying, don't you?
Yes, because of the translation.
Look at Mirko. He's cringing slightly.
Wait, let's wait for him to show on cam.
There you go. There
How do you
go.
explain that face? Like,
Yeah, it's kind of like... I agree
I
with
told
him.
you so.
No, I mean, I disagree with him, you know? It's something that you would expect in ranked games.
Yeah.
It's something you'd expect in some of the streamers' games. But like you saw how much it did against the Akai. It was kind of just dancing there.
yeah, there was probably some bit of attempt to cheese.
No, I think I have the same mindset as the Mongols. You know what my mindset always is?
What?
What's the worst that could happen? Get savaged on. You know, that's pretty bad. That's
pretty bad for your first match.
But,
I mean,
you know, like, hey, what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? By the way, guys, this is the first best of one for today. We got 7 more matches after this. We're going to go for a short break, but when we return, we got a lot more games. So we'll see whether we see Harara again or not. But for now, we're going over to a break. See you guys later.
Play is in our DNA. Whenever we let it out, it becomes our superpower. Now imagine an entire city being built to supercharge it. Kadir City, powered by play.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Esports World Cup 2026 here in Paris. We are here at the Wildcards, where we just finished watching Mongols going up against FUT Esports, where FUT won that best of one, and they even secured a Savage. My name is Phil. Alongside with me is Mirko as well as Brigida, where we will be talking about the newcomers coming in from East Asia. They might be the new wave. We're talking about Sunset Ravens going up against the Huns.
I'm at Sunset Ravens, y'all. I flew in to Paris with them, with Coach Raizan. Raizan, Indonesian coach, was the coach at Dewa United, so I know him.
Spend some small time in Malaysia with KGE.
There you go. A little bit of time in China with Rare Adam.
There you go.
And now to Japan he goes with Sunset Ravens and Mui Minette. So honestly, Sunset Ravens, it's a Cinderella story. If you really look at it, right? They were able to beat, well, Mui Minette was able to beat his ex-teammates in Junichi and 10 all the way in the Japanese qualifiers. So I'm really excited to see what they have been cooking up, because they actually boot camped in Indonesia.
Yeah, they were the more familiar names when it comes to the Japanese teams before. And I think there was also one player from 10S Gaming Frost who they were also able to defeat. So they're definitely making a statement for themselves. We're just really looking forward to see how it's going to fare now that they're in the wild card and going up against the other regions. But for the Huns, I think they've made enough introductions about themselves. We're very familiar with a lot of their players as well. These are like the rest of the Team Zone guys who we also witnessed in series number 1 from the Mongols. It's just that now they're split up and they're with a new lineup.
If we're going to compare between the Huns as well as the Mongols, you would say that the Huns are more, I would say, micro-heavy. They really want to show their strength very, very early on. The thing is, we expect the Mongols to play a bit slower, but then their draft didn't really say that.
Yeah.
And then they didn't fare well. So, I don't know. Huns is going to be playing slower instead. I don't know. The thing is, will we see more assassins in the jungle? Because Hirara already doesn't look great. So, it's going to be very interesting to see what Huns is, well, the Team Huns is going to go for.
Yeah. Let's take a look at Mui Minette and the boys first. Sunset Ravens coming in as, I guess, well, for everybody except for Mui Minette and Ryzen, no international experience. They're coming in here trying to prove to the world that Japanese MLBB.
Yeah. And that's why Mui Minette is the captain.
Yeah.
He will be leading the charge.
Let's talk about the history of Japan as well, right?
Even the entire history of Japan?
Yeah, because, okay, fast forward.
Okay, fast forward.
Fast forward to M1, right?
Oh, okay.
Fast forward to M1 with Tenseka Gaming. They revolutionized that period of MLBB, bringing up the Rafaela, bringing up the X-Borg jungle, right? And then 10-second Gaming Frost, and they're very lovely people, you know, like very easy to talk to and very humble as well. So we always love seeing Japan come here because they might bring something new, and it's something that we didn't think of, and they were like, huh, that does work.
And we miss seeing Japan in the international stage. I remember.
Konnichiwa minasan.
Yeah, we did a trailer, right? Do you remember that trailer? Of the when Japan finally returned.
Oh.
And we went to the jungle. And then we were just like celebrating.
So that one was the one with the leeches.
Yep, that's the one.
Shout outs Remar.
Shout outs
Remar.
And Gideon Q. Gideon Q. Oh God, nice.
You know what? I love jungle. Love the jungle.
Not as much, but yes.
Okay, you know what? It's in my in my top 200.
It's in my top 3, but like I've only done like 3 shoots, so.
There you go. There you go. So now let's talk about the game again. Okay, so far it looks like as long as you keep to the standard of the current meta of tank jungles, right? Having a basic attack marksman, or unless your name is Harif, and then in terms of the EXP, if possible, get a diver. Some drafts require you to be a frontline, but hey, that seems to be the the template.
Yeah, I think that fits the bill entirely for Sunset Ravens. But if we talk about the Huns Esports, I think they got to rely a little bit more on their XP and their mid lane, just because they're the only dudes here with international experience, and they're pretty darn good. Last time we saw them, Bankai on the XP, on those carries as well at M7 in the wildcard did a fantastic job. Kenny in the mid lane with those Kimmies. So I'm really expecting more of that utility jungle. Play for Kenny, play for neutral objectives with Bankai as well.
Yeah, because it seems like they're on a similar wavelength in the sense that there's just one guy who's really taking majority of the lead amidst the young bloods. Because I think you could really consider the newer members of the Huns to be young bloods. They're new names relatively in the scene of Mongolian MLBB. And it's Bankai who's just going to be the overall in-game commander as the EXP lane.
And again, maybe that's why we're gonna hopefully see, unless your name is Paquito, see the EXP being chosen just a little bit later. Because one of the reasons why EXP has really opened up, because there's more relevant counters to most of the EXP picks. So it's very punishable if you pick up your EXP way too early. Even if it doesn't get countered in lane, somehow in the neutral objective fights, you might get countered there. So if you really are the carry, sometimes you gotta take your time, because there's this one guy, Vinuya, he can first pick the hero.
I know that guy.
But that one is Paquito as well as Arlid, which is also one of those heroes that we really gotta look out for. His Arlid looks like a Lancelot, man.
Yeah.
But Vinuya is coming later on. We're gonna talk about wildcards.
Okay, okay.
Bankai, can he be like Mr. King Bob?
I thought we were going to talk about it later.
Sorry, Vinuya. Man of many names.
CC Immune.
Man of many names.
Hey, now that I think about it,
Dol.
Paquito got his first, like, I did not expect to see the first Paquito loss in as early as game 1 of
That's
MSC.
true. That's true.
Because he's such a power pick. That's why he's first picked.
Yeah, and that's where I think it comes
Blame
down
the Hirara.
to the rest of the team. I was about to say as well. Yeah, the Hirara is a very, very good shout there. And I think we also got our answer from Mr. Kazue, who was pretty honest about it. He just said
Stick
it's a
to
ranked
rank.
game pick. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna see any more game time here competitively. But we'll see. We'll see again. Still meta. That's the name of the guy in the jungle that we'll be seeing as well for the Huns. And fun fact is that apparently his name comes from Ling is still meta. It implies that some picks are still
Here's
meta
the
like
thing.
Ling.
This is my short pet peeve.
All right.
Right? Some of the buffs and nerfs is not created equal.
I agree.
For everyone.
Yeah.
We're looking at Ling, and the thing that they buffed doesn't increase the clear speed in the jungle, which
Yup.
is one of the problems. Doesn't help its survivability in a team fight, which was one of Ling's problems as well. So they buff things that Ling don't need. And then you have Akai. They're like, we're going to keep it simple. We're just going to increase his HP. But the thing is, everything in his kit scales with HP, and then suddenly he becomes OP.
And the Claude. Don't forget the Claude.
The
It's
Claude-
like, you're a weak side goal laner, right?
Yeah.
So,
We're
do we
gonna-
take away the early game or the late game?
Yeah. No, here's the thing. They
took away
lowered
the early game.
They took away a bit of the Blazing Duet early game.
And then they made it.
Yeah, we're gonna be throwing it over to Eterna, where she's gonna be talking to Raven. So let's head on over to her.
Eterna.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm here at the Kadia City interview, and I'm here with Mexi. Welcome, Mexi.
Hello.
How are you feeling before your match?
Pretty exciting.
Pretty exciting. I mean, I heard this is your first time. Is there any nerves that's happening right now?
Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous right now, but I think more like, exciting to be here on the stage. Yeah.
Okay, so he's excited to be here on the stage today. So I want to know about your in-game name, Mexi. Where did that come from?
So I used to live in Mexico for 3 years, and when I came back to Japan, everyone started saying, "Oh, where did you come from?" I was like, I lived in Mexico for 3 years. So everyone started to go Mexi, Mexi, Mexican, Mexican, Mexi, Mexi, Mexi. That's my origin of my name.
Okay, so it's because you were in Mexico for 3 years. Now that's interesting. Now coming into this next game, obviously, Mexi, we're hearing that you're also a translator for your team because your head coach is Indonesian, Coach Ryzen. How challenging has that been for you?
To be honest, it's not really challenging. I think I was pretty new in this team, so I think a little bit difficulties was being good at having a good team to be a good team, because I didn't know anything about the members, so it was less tough for me to communicate or discuss team more deeply. That was my difficulties. Yeah,
Okay, so it's more on synergy and chemistry with the team.
that's right.
Okay. Coming to this next match, do you have maybe a message for your opponent today?
Message for opponent. good luck for both teams. Yeah.
Good luck for both teams. Are you confident for this game?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, we'll see. Good luck, and we'll see how they do up against their opponents today, because obviously we're going to throw it over to our casters to witness the second best of one.
Thank you very much, Eterna, as well as Maxi. And yeah, looks like the difficulty really is just gelling with each other.
Yeah.
And not so much talking with the coach, which, again, I believe this is one of those things that happens in regions like Japan, where you don't want to follow-ish the meta. You kind of want to reinvent if possible. So I feel like that might also be a struggle.
That could be it. You know, Muimanet, he's known for a hero specifically. He's top global on a footballer in game.
Yeah, Brew, yes.
Brew, close enough? Close enough? Yeah. Yeah. Bruno.
World Cup.
Bruno.
Shoutouts.
World Cup. Yeah, actually for Mexi, it's pretty cool because he's Japanese. Japan are out, but he can always just go and support Mexico now.
Yes.
They're still in.
There you go. But yes, now we're going to be talking about this one. We're hoping for Hans to have a better game compared to the Mongols before, because so far, the prediction is that games will either be so snowbally or nothing will happen, and then we just approach the late game, right? We've seen the snowbally part. Somehow I just have an instinct. I feel like that's going to be the same story for game 2 here.
Oh, I thought you were going to say we're going to see a late game.
Yeah.
No, as I was thinking about it, maybe both teams might be just a little bit nervous. A little bit more nervous
Game
one
1 was like 14 minutes though. Like in between of our like.
I guess 40 minutes for some people is long. For me, it's quite short.
It's quite short. I agree.
It's quite short.
I agree.
It is very underwhelming. So, hey, maybe if the draft just has scaling gold laners and then going back to the tank jungles, then yeah, maybe we can see an extended game. But now we're going into the draft here. Hans is going to be the first pick, and the Ravens will be the second one. Expanding Rivers will be the map. Already banning out the Phoveus as well as the Marcel. And I also want to talk about Freya. That nerf means nothing to this girl, man.
Okay,
She's still super strong.
It means something. I don't think it's like completely nothing.
Bro. I'm more afraid of Freya than Paquito.
Huh?
Okay, I'm actually more.
Oh yeah, well.
I don't
in
know.
the lane,
Okay, listen.
In the lane, yes.
Listen, if you're a mid or gold laner, you kind of don't want to deal with the Freya, because even if you don't kill her, she's already done her job. She's just there to disrupt.
That's true. That's true. I think she's still a very, very good pick.
But I guess the small reduction gives you something.
Yeah.
Hey,
like in the range, in terms of range.
It's not about the range. It's about how you utilize it. And most Freya players utilize it very well.
Okay.
Bro.
I agree.
If they made her die faster, then that's a good nerf.
I think they should do that next patch. I think they really should do that next patch. I don't want to see a Freya in the next 6 months. But the Baksha gets spanned out. The Huns have taken out the Marcel, the Phoveus, and even the Baksha as first pick.
Yeah, really great bans. Because earlier, I think the Marcel was something we saw in second phase.
Baksha also banned out. I wonder if they really just want to go for more DPS, something like a Kimi, something like a Claude. The first pick is going to be very interesting for me, because I'm hovering first picking Claude, the Akais.
Okay.
Those are amazing first picks for now, because there's not a lot of counters for those picks. But if you prefer Fredrin, then I can see that as well.
There you go. Aerith gets banned out. The Juicin is left open. It'll always be first pick if it's left open to Huns.
One of those heroes that no matter how you nerf her, she's flexible. She's adaptable.
Yeah.
She's like Mahoraga.
Oh, wow.
Yep, and a Savage game 1. There you go. This is what we expected, right? Claude in the first phase with the Akai. There you have it.
Yeah, these are really good priorities.
So this should be a Fredrin.
Yeah.
A Fredrin, and then maybe a carry just to fight back with a Claude or Moscow, whatever you're comfortable with before he gets banned out.
Yeah.
Because those are the only two, I think. Not unless...
Novaria.
Wait a second. We did see a Novaria banned out just earlier. The Atlas into the Akai.
Where is Novaria going?
Is it
going?
No.
Bus.
What's the jungle? Is one of these like...
No, okay.
Uh-oh. Was it a mistake?
Is Zushin somehow going to be EXP or something? I don't know.
I mean, I've seen that.
I've seen that too.
Yeah, but we don't know the
like,
matchup, so why?
Yeah, and I think it's a confused Sunset Ravens. You can already see Coach Raizan say, don't think about it.
It's not just them.
Yeah, they confuse more than just Sunset Ravens. The Eve comes up for that matchup against the Juicin, but...
or is it the Juicin?
Exactly. A good thing about the Huns, they could be like, psych.
Maybe it's just Mongolian team, because again, we did see it banned out.
Banned out when you already saw that there was a roamer and a mid.
Yeah.
So where could it be?
Yeah. The thing is, is this a cheese that we've just been we just don't know of. It's been happening in scrims.
In Southeast Asia, we have not seen this.
No.
Not even on TikToks. Unless that one guy that just farms his one-shots, you know?
Yeah, TikTok is just all about Hirara right now.
Yep. By the way, Fredrin banned out as well as the Uranus. So for the Ravens here...
so is it gold?
They're still not considering it's a jungle. So
Yeah, no, I wouldn't think it's a
No, it's not.
jungler either. Fredrin gets banned.
Oh, where was it?
I am so confused.
Because the only thing that they know is a Claude gold lane.
No. Let's also think about it this way, right? What are you setting up with this Novaria early pick? Because using the Echo, it makes it so that your projectiles hit easier.
Yeah.
So the Atlas will benefit.
But then there's an
Atlas-ish.
Akai
Yeah.
who can just push you away. It's like,
I'm thinking of the damage. What is the damage setup gonna be?
Yeah.
Is
Well-
it just selfish so that she can hit her shots? This is confusing. Carrie gets
Oh, but
banned
they banned-
out.
Yeah, jungle and gold.
Because if I was them, I wouldn't know what to ban either.
Yeah, I just ban out the heroes that are annoying to my composition. I agree. The Khalid gets banned out from the Huns. Sunset Ravens, if they can actually play the Cho, it would be a pretty good pick here against the Atlas. You can get mid-prio as well. With the Eve, if it is a Juicin matchup, if
We just don't know.
Okay, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the XP lane for Sunset
I'll
Ravens.
be so
they'll-
upset if this is Atlas
sorry.
jungle.
The Val.
Oh!
Okay. Woohoo.
It's a
I think it's a Mongolian
It's a
thing.
Mongolian thing.
They
yeah,
really, really like Hirara. I mean, I don't blame him, but
And then the Moscow. So this
it's
is
XP.
Wait, who is the XP? Zushin or Novaria or Atlas?
What
Is
would
it
you rather
Atlas
use
XP?
against the Sora?
bro.
None of the above.
Okay, you know what? You know what? Let's be fans. You know, close our brains, enjoy the game.
I like it.
Yeah. Like is a very strong word. Let me just say that, right? Like is a very strong word. So now, Sunset Ravens, the final pick here for the Roam. I do agree. The Cho is the easy pickup if you want to go
Yep.
for more, I don't know, healing. Something like Matilda might still be
Poke.
able to work. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, the Matilda is
I
pretty
feel
good
like
too,
it's
yeah.
hard for you to get a bad Roam here.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard. You already have a very good composition. I mean, this... Okay, sure.
Yeah,
sure.
Belleric.
Yeah, wait for them to initiate, then grow your trees out.
Yep, Hirara comes in, doesn't go out. That's the kind of game that I want to see.
Untargetable, by the way. So I think she might be able to get out, but the team might be baited in by the Hirara.
Oh, and Moscow as well might have some difficulties.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? Let's just see where
Wait,
everyone
where's
goes.
it going? Where's it going?
If it's wait, who's no Bankai?
XP Novaria.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be throwing it over to Merkel as well as Brigida, where I will just enjoy in the backseat to see what's going on with game number 2 here.
Folks, you create space in the XP. That's what you're meant to do. And what better pick to create space than a hero who's in space? Novaria, right? I mean, right?
Okay, yeah, let's just not.
Lore-wise, she's in space.
Yeah. Eve's also in space. That's
Eve's
right.
in space, but okay, that's true. That's true.
There are all I don't know.
But like, you see what I'm going with it, you know, XP, getting space. You
Yeah.
know a lot about XP.
Let us not talk about nor consider the matchups anymore. The 1v1s, none of it is going to matter, I guess. Wait, so it's not Navarro?
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, welcome
Hey.
to game number 2. We're in the line of dawn. So Novaria is Arlet.
I see the
that-
resemblance. Yeah.
Sure, but yeah, okay, so that we were confused for no reason.
I know.
We should have just known. We should have known it was a different visual, you know? Okay. Maybe Novaria and Arlet are just different in Paris.
No. Okay.
But hey, all right, so let's talk about the Arlet. Now that it's an Arlet, they can actually have some combos with the rest of the team, right? They can
Yes.
actually bait out some Purifies as well. They have layers upon the CC, not just the Atlas. It makes sense. It makes more sense.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
thank
was
goodness.
it like if it because I'm trying to recall like the sequence, then maybe it was also some sort of deny for the Atlas Arlot to just
whoa.
come together for Sunset Ravens. And somehow Bankai is really doing a great job so far. Oh,
Wait a minute, that's way too far away, the BMI. What?
okay, he did not expect that, but if he did watch game number 1, he should have known that the Hirara is likely to go there.
Yeah, okay. Let's take a look at the emblems real quick. Nexi's not having a good time.
He's not. Okay. So I'm assuming these are the accurate emblems that we're seeing. Still the same for the Hirara as we saw in game number 1. I think it's except the Assassin.
Yeah, it's Master Assassin coming down. The Bargain Hunter is something that we actually have been seeing quite a bit as well. Good zoning. Bankai is going to hit 4 before MSC. Depends on the XP crab. They're going to have to fight for him. This is the thing about the two roamers. And Oyu,
Oh, yeah.
they're not going to have ultimates here for the first turtle.
Hey, we could say his IGN by the time he uses Wrath of Dryad.
That's true. Wait, good taunt.
Okay, MSC here will use the Shifting Skies, captures one, but Bankai responds with the final slash. That's actually an outplay that we get to see from the Huns, and they force out the heavy spin as well from Trap. Now he's trapped. Can he get out? Gets knocked up, and is picked off by the Huns yet again. They seemingly are going to get the clear advantage in this fight.
Really well played by the Huns. Bankai again. Something that we mentioned in the pre-show as well is play around the XP. Get Bankai and Kenny good picks, a winning matchup, and you'll be able to get so much more of an advantage. Thank goodness it's not a Navaria.
Okay, this is a better Hirara game, at least so far. So far. That's why I said so far. Because we never know what can happen. This is Sunset Ravens with a Claude, who is one death in.
Yeah, if you snowball, it'll be great, right? That's the thing about the Huns' composition here with the Hirara. So far, they've gotten mid-prio. They even got a lead over Eska, which is kind of strange to think about, right? The Heave should usually have a better lane compared to the Jusin, but in this situation, Kenny, that international experience of making it to the main stage at M7 has paid a lot of dividends.
Yeah. We just got to see MSC from the interview earlier on. It's very unfortunate to see him struggle in this position because I feel like that heavily impacted how the first objective went for them. Actually survives just a bit, uses the Wrath of Dryad, but could not walk away from this. Hands over a third, not kill, because it's actually Oyu who got it, but still meta, 100% or almost 100% kill participation so far in this Hirara game.
Yeah, living up to the name, still meta.
Okay, it took a while for still meta to get to this point, by the way, so it's really great to see him finally have such a great showing in his international debut appearance game. And it's so far really snowballing well for the Huns, so they've clearly got the advantage. What is SNR going to respond with? They're not gonna really commit to the fights just yet, but they're gonna show up here down bot.
Okay, at least Muimanek gets it with Art of Thievery there. Picks it up, Bankai up top, man, a menace against MSC. Still meta, living up to the name, at least, right? The Hirara is still meta, according to him, and he's doing really, really well. They're doing a good job. SNR, though, what they need to do is focus more on the neutral objectives. They have a composition to play around neutral objectives, but it just seems like they're getting baited by the Huns to take these fights, and this is a good way to do it. Bait out the heavy spin before the fight.
Oh, the final slash was used onto Eska, forcing out the flicker, but now the heavy spin responds, and the real-world manipulation too. Now they're in the trap, and they get to find the Shifting Skies from MSC, but the response with a Fatal Links! Moiminet goes in with the Blazing to it, and now it's all the Huns! They take out 3 members from the Huns! Sunset Raven actually turned things around.
Sunset Ravens have a cycle to play with, but the Huns did not respect it at all. They just went in all in, even though they baited some of those resources, but there is a silver lining. They did get a turret up top, so they got a trade, but that early lead that they just built is almost all gone. I don't know, I think it's just a big mistake that they didn't respect the cycle of skills. Trap.
Okay, Trap gets to walk out of that. SOD will not connect. But yeah, the moment that Huns sort of overextended in that moment, then it was just Eska freely laying down that real-world manipulation. And even though they did respond with the Fatal Links, they were still inside of it. So there wasn't much that they could do. Whoa! A flicker into the Wrath of Dryad. Didn't go in with the Blazing Do It just yet, though. Does not decide to fight. He was able to calculate that it was a bit too risky.
It's a zoning ult. Trap needs to get purple buff, right? Right? If they didn't ult there, purple buff might have been stolen. And the flicker with right?
So he just blocked them from crossing.
Mui needs farm. Right now he's getting farm. It's okay. The roamer can die a lot of times. Trust me, I know. I casted a lot of Geek Time games. Beloyski dies like at least 7 times before the team starts winning.
Yes.
And they're scaling. Look, it's Yves, Claude. They can win. wait all day long. It's just the Huns who actually have to be the ones to walk up. So I'm hoping for them to adapt to it already, right? They saw the mistake that they made. They went in, they baited out the cycle of skills, but they fought inside of the RWM after baiting it. They fought into the heavy spin after baiting it. Now they're playing a lot slower. Still meta going to the side, taking these turrets. And Moskov staying up top.
Yeah. Look at how well the Huns are actually able to manage the map so far. They're slowly taking control of majority of SNR's resources, and that is going to be a bit tricky for them considering that the lead is still existing between their junglers even. Trap is a level behind so far, and there is an objective that's coming next. We're already approaching the 8-minute mark, but the Huns have solidified their lead so far. So Sunset Ravens, are they going to risk it?
Whoa.
Oh, Trap goes in, forced to use the heavy spin, but it was a bit too late. They've already secured the objective long before they arrived.
Who knows, maybe delay it for a bit, right? They're gonna go for the siege now, trying to convert on more objectives, and it's just been the Huns who's dominated this game. Yes, a good fight for SNR, but after that, back to the control, over the side lanes, getting prio all around, still meta, a whole 2 levels ahead of Trap, and it's just been the pattern everywhere. Everyone's ahead.
It's
Yuki's 2 levels ahead of Muimanet.
I guess it also has something to do with what their lineup is capable of, considering the lead. Maybe they are forced to play the more passive approach. They do have the Belleric either way, so it was something that we expected from Sunset Ravens. If ever the Huns do become aggressive and just go all in, but this time around, okay, they might find one. Bankai uses the flicker to survive though.
Oh man, Yuki's just picking up turrets for free. Up top, they're utilizing Bankai's pressure so well. Notices everybody in the bottom lane gets a turret up top. They're just playing the slow game. And actually, it's weird because we expected the Huns to be the more aggressive mechanical team. We expected Team Mongols to be the more calculated team. But so far, it's actually been the opposite. Still meta? Ooh, wait, Trap just heavy spin.
Still meta's gonna be okay. Doesn't need to use much just to get out of that, and that's a major resource already burned for Sunset Ravens. Nearly finds one. Muimanet gonna be okay though. But yeah, I think the way that the Huns are able to take away these turrets so fast and freely shouldn't be the case. It's a bit too reactive that we're seeing from Sunset Ravens so far. MSC, shifting skies, but just look at how Yuki's landing all those free hits, responds with that Wrath of Dryad. The final smash once again! Bankai with a setup from behind, still meta catching up alongside Yuki. It's a complete wipeout for Sunset Ravens.
Wow, well played under turret, baiting out the skills and just prolonging the fight for the Moskov, the Arlet, even the Hirara to take advantage of it. Once you deal with the cycles, it's just done. The Huns have done that. They can actually go for the end. 2 seconds on Eska.
Still meta, Bankai and Yuki are trying to end this quick in less than less than 10 minutes. The Huns secure their first win here in the wildcards.
Oh man, Sunset Ravens, they couldn't hold on after that wipeout straight up. They saw the vision, they saw the wave down below, and it ended at 940.
Oh my, okay, I think we gotta call on our good friend, LaFell.
You're a good friend.
How do you feel about this? It's a less than 10-minute game.
Called it, first of all, you know, called it.
Snowball, snowball.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know, like, as I'm talking, the equations just happen in my head, and I'm like, I feel it's just gonna be a snowballing game, and still meta.
But did you expect that to be with a Hirara?
No, I did not. No,
I expected it to be a Novaria too, so.
Yeah, right? And again, Bankai was one of his top picks in previous international tournaments, which was the Arlet. So at least now we know Novaria, Arlet are the same people, right? It's just a cosmetic change.
So it's a skin.
It's a new skin.
Is Novaria an Arlet skin or is an Arlet a Novaria skin?
It's obviously Novaria is the skin for Arlet. You know why?
Why?
this is a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Ooh.
Yeah, you just don't know. And I feel like the biggest difference here, right, Briggs? This Aurora looks good because the side lanes were winning.
Yeah, because like
I would say every lane actually was
every
winning.
lane, yeah.
every
The
lane
side lane was winning, the mid lane was winning, the prio is there. They know their win conditions better as well over Sunset Ravens. It really seems like Sunset Ravens were just a bit lost.
I mean, like, let's look at the lanes, right? In the gold lane, try to freeze and make a difference in EXP up until 2 levels. But on the EXP lane, just go in and try to kill as fast as you can, just to make sure this Sora is a non-factor in any of the fights. With that, it makes it easier for Still Meta to just be like, I see what's open on the map, I'll just go for that. Both of y'all don't need help.
Yeah, I think it's also a major difference because I think what they decided to go for with the Hirara this time was just really the snowball through making sure the EXP's out.
Yeah.
It's unlike what we saw from the Mongols earlier on, where they just tried to give up some of the more or the major resources and then get confused with what trades they would go after that.
Yeah. We also have to say, for Sunset Ravens, there's just no proactivity, right? They didn't set anything up. Part of it is because they lost all the lanes. So even if they do try to do something, they will probably lose, because the thing with a Belleric lineup, you kind of want to establish like a good siege, just to make sure that you can get those free objectives, and then Belleric just prevent anyone from coming in. We're going to be looking at the match highlights just to see what really happened in this game. And we saw Still Meta goes to the gold lane first, eventually goes to the EXP, and then once those lanes have won, everything is easy for Hans.
Yeah, I really just feel like it feels like there's an individual gap for sure, man, and the mechanics definitely shine through for the Huns here. So many times, Bankai getting those resets with the help of the Lantern Flare and the perfect match, and he just gets so much sustain, and they get a lot of this too. They bait out some of the crucial skills before a fight even happens, right? So, Breath of Dryad gone, heavy spin a couple of times baited out as well. RWM, this is the moment though where
I don't like this.
It looked like it was great because Trap shoved them away, but Huns were like, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, oh no, we're safe. No, we're not. We like danger. We go in on that one.
Yeah, I honestly thought the moment the Fatal Links was laid down that it could have been like still the Huns winning that fight, but it didn't really happen.
Yeah.
But sadly, that was the only moment we really got to see Sunset Ravens with the more favorable reaction, because I feel like their reactions a lot of times really didn't give them much value. Like, that's something they might want to, or we would want to see them work on a bit more, is like finding trades across the map despite whatever the opponents are actually doing. Because a lot of times we just saw them like waiting and on standby, I guess. Even especially after that one failed attempt to contest the Lord, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and I feel like for you to be proactive in those games, it's an unspoken rule of MLBB. Don't lose the lane in the first 2 minutes. Because the moment you do lose the lane in one shape or form in the first 2 minutes, you're gonna cause problems for your team. Imagine your EXP laner being level 2 as the turtle spawns. That's kind of game over, right? Your gold laner goes 0, 3, and 0 at 2 minutes, 20 seconds. That's kind of not good.
Yep.
Right? Your jungler losing out even by 1 level at this point of meta, you're not gonna be helping out anybody.
Yeah, another good example will be mid lane not reaching level 4 for Turtle 1, right? Then you have not as much impact, and we saw that as well. Eska was not able to walk up, did not have RWM, was zoned early on, I believe. We didn't get to see too much of that mid matchup, but it's something that you would already think as almost a win in normal situations. The Yves over to Jusin, it did not happen here in this game.
Yeah.
This is why, again, like, mechanical players are so solid because they just make sure the first 2 minutes they don't lose.
Yeah, I think we've seen a lot of like matchups which didn't go the way you expect them to in at least the first 2 games. So mechanics definitely do play a bit of a role. Great
You
job.
sound a bit different there.
Yeah.
You know, I ventriloquist.
Oh.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Now that the camera's on you, stop talking? What's going on here?
Yeah, because I had to. You had to keep the act.
It's your voice.
It's your voice. Now I'm about to say something. So yeah, I agree because it feels like we could go to a break right now.
Yeah.
Really?
Honestly, it was a pretty short one, but yes, we have more games for today. That's the second best of 1 true. We'll be jumping to the third one after this, but for now, we're going for a short break. Make sure you guys don't go anywhere because we'll be back in like what, 5-10 minutes? We'll see you guys then.
Deals that will make you go crazy. Shop fashion, home, toys, and more. Visit your nearest store or brandsforless.com. Download the app now.
a regular thing. I came for the ring, you know what I mean. You see my name in the lights, better get right, I'm champion.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to EWC 26. This is the MLBB Wildcard, and we just saw another rather short game. About 8-9 minutes was ended. Sunset Ravens got defeat from the Han, so now Hirara has a 50% win rate. So that's kind of good. And we'll be watching this next match, KOG. Very impressive from MSL Thailand going up against VSG. My name is Phil. Alongside with me is Mirko as well as Brigitte. So far, stomps in the first 2 games. Will this be one of them, Mirko?
No, I think this is actually going to be one of the closer series or closer matches that we have here today. This is a good one. I really expect both teams to do really well. I casted for MSL Thailand, so I know how good KOG can be. VSG, I've heard great things about them. And I also watched some of the VODs of their games, and they got, you know, my favorite player, one of my favorites, my GOAT, ex-BTR, by the way, JM.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of, both teams have Filipino DNAs, Brigitte. Let's talk about that a little bit.
What's up with
Exactly. That's why I think it will be a much closer fight, because they're able to bring much of what we're familiar to in terms of gameplay to the international stage. And this time around, I think it's almost the same in terms of numbers. Like there's 2.5 on KOG's, or no, on VSG side, 2.5 Filipinos, and then there's 3. Because even the coach for KOG, even the coach for KOG
So
has
only
some
half.
Filipino DNA.
Oh.
Must be nice being you, huh?
Why?
I feel like
Filipinos
like good at MLBB or something.
I feel like we talk about this every year, and it's just a stream like she's just talking about how great the Philippines is, and then we're like,
You tossed me the question, so I just had to,
That's true.
Yeah, but every year.
It's every year, man. It's
Yeah.
almost like Filipinos are good at MLBB.
Yeah,
or
right.
something. Anyways, yeah, we gotta talk about KOG because they were very, very impressive back in MSL Thailand.
Ooh.
And looking at 33rd or 33 or Sanju San, he is 30 years old. Damn, I don't know anyone that age. I don't know myself, so I'm
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
I don't know
true.
myself.
He I think aside from that has been here very long enough.
Which, by the way, I fought against him in SEA Games. It was the first SEA Games. I was the coach, he was the player, but we had an interaction there, yeah.
Dang,
So
2017.
that was some
So you're
history.
batchmates.
Yes. We're almost same age.
Damn.
Damn.
By the way, right? Payan, amazing goal laner. I think the star of the day for me has to be Payan. Just seeing his Claude, specifically his Claude at MSL Thailand, I think this is something that VSG are going to have to take into account when they ban out some of those heroes. We saw the Claude just earlier, unfortunately not game number 1, but game number 2, respect the Claude, please, VSG.
Yeah, which is exactly why we're all excited to see Carvey too and his resurgence here in the international scene, because he's the one who's going to have to go up against Payan. So that's going to be an interesting matchup for sure. But more so, it's the guy on the screen. It's the EXP lane matchup too that I think needs a lot of attention when it comes to this game.
I feel like it's just going to be the story of, I would say, this EWC, right? Anyone that, if there's any game that there's an EXP diff, I really feel like it's just going to be snowballing, right? If other lanes, lose a little bit, I think it's still survivable. But if the EXP lane has a clear gap, I don't think it's going to be a long game. I think the game will end by the first Lord. That's how impactful the EXP laners are right now. Having a massive hero pool helps a lot because, again, a lot of things can be countered. So if you're saved all the way to the end, then you're going to be good.
That's why, good XPs, they win you tournaments. And earlier, Bankai was able to show that, right? Yeah. Let's see who is the better XP here because 33, he's got the experience. JM, he's Filipino.
Yeah,
but
unfair advantage.
He is Filipino, and he will be going up against a team who might be one of the closest to the PH macro, though. So
yeah, one thing about KOG that's really, really great is, like you said, the discipline, the macro, the way they play. They understand their win conditions so well. But it was all with assassin junglers. That's the big question now. Has Kaizen readapted to that utility jungle? Because he was known as utility jungle, but then he had to adapt to the assassins. Now, is he back?
Yeah, something about those assassin tank conversations. Junglers like using the assassins slightly, especially the gold lane. They like the tanks.
Not Zane back then. Saber, I guess. Yeah, you know what?
Yeah, Saber's good. Saber's good. Saber meta-ish in rank with the buffs, making him able to go in and out of the fights. But we're not going to be talking about that unless it has been brought out. But we're going to be talking about KOG here, which, again, we've seen a lot of them. They're looking pretty good. BSG, and here's the thing. You were saying that this might be a close game.
Yes.
And I do agree. But
yes.
In the first 4 minutes, if I see a clear gap in the EXP, probably not going to be a long one.
Okay.
And I feel like it might, because 33 during the time of MSL and I think a bit of Asian games, I think he tried to make the CC work. It worked for him. It didn't work out for the team.
Yeah.
CC did get buffed a bit, but I think it's not enough.
I agree with that. I agree. I think it's also because in Asian games, he couldn't rely on his jungler maybe, or on his goal laner. So now that he has Kaizen and Pai, and he can go back to what we see more often in MSL Thailand for him, which was actually some crazy picks like the Esmeralda. So it's tanks in the XP just to enable the rest of the team.
Yeah, I still like to think that this will be our first, longer game.
Okay, let's establish what would be a longer game. For me, if it's above 16.
I think just above 14, above match 1, I'm happy.
Yeah. Around 15 plus.
So you guys are comfortable with 14, I'm comfortable with 16?
Above 14.
Above 14, above
16 is above 14.
There you go.
Bang.
Because, I don't know, I feel like, 15-ish minutes still...
It feels long if...
30-minute game.
I've had a 33-minute game.
33?
33.
Hey, that was Malaysia against Indo.
Oh my God. That was game 2 or game 3? Was it game 2?
Game 3.
Game 3.
It was game 3. It was game 3. Yusin Shin in the jungle. Makito gold lane. Yeah. But still, honestly, that was a fun game. I'm glad that was fun. I'm glad that Malaysia won, but still, that was a very, very fun game. Very, very fun game. So for KOG going against VSG, we haven't talked enough about VSG, so we're gonna make sure that we touch on them just a little bit. Maybe during the draft. Yeah. And we read some of the comments. Everyone is very interested on Hirara, and it's split, Miracle. It's very split. Some people are Hirara defenders, and some are just haters. And you seem to be one of the haters.
Yes. Dude, no, don't get me wrong. I love Hirara. It's just in-game, bro. It's different. You know what I mean, fam? It's bad.
It's not a CEO.
It's not a CEO?
Meaning, in my opinion...
It's not a Suyo.
Yeah.
I heard CEO. Okay, yeah. It's not a Suyo.
In my opinion, Suyo drops into the same category like Cho, Zushin, where it doesn't matter the change. You can make him work.
I don't know.
No, because he has the kit for it. Right? He has ways to defend himself. He has a lot of dashes. He has ways to secure turtle lord. There's a lot in his kit where even if it's not S tier, in the hands of a good player, they can make it work.
I just want to say...
Also, Lancelot is in that tier for me.
I just want to say, in the official trailer for Hirara, she couldn't even kill a Hanabi.
It's her boss.
It's her boss.
It's her boss.
Speaking of bosses, Eterna is our boss. You guys might not know this.
CEO.
She's a boss lady, and she's with 33rd. So let's see what she has to say with 33rd.
Combined age of
or 33.
Thank you so much, Lafel. I'm definitely not your boss, but if I was, I would cut your pay for sure. But on a serious note, we're here for the Kadia City interview. And the first thing I gotta ask you, are you Framesy, 33? 33rd? What's going on here?
Just call me 33.
33. Okay, confirm 33.
Yeah.
Now, you are a familiar face. We saw you back in 2017 when you were able to win MSC, the first ever MSC. Now, we see that you were absent for a bit and then you decided to come back. So what motivated you to come back professionally as a player?
ก็ผมอยากจะพิสูจน์ตัวเองอีกครั้งหนึ่งครับเพื่อให้คนรุ่นใหม่เห็นว่าแบบเราพยายามแค่ไหนเราก็ยังกลับมาเล่นบนเวทีระดับโลกได้ครับ
He said that he wants to prove for a new generation of players for our country or everyone who playing MLBB that if you try hard, you can be able to be back in the global stage.
Okay, so no matter the age, no matter whatever.
The age. Because I think our age two people 60. We are 30 right now.
You guys are 30?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Both of us are 30.
I'll be 30
So,
soon.
yeah,
so
yeah.
we're the 30 gang. 30 gang.
Yeah, we are 30 gang. We're 33.
With 33, that's true.
Yes.
So we need someone that's okay. Never mind. Forget
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Forget
yeah,
that. Anyway, so this is definitely a very interesting matchup, and obviously MSL is very new. It's in its first season. But what do you think about the competitive landscape in Thailand as a whole? And do you think they'll be able to compete regionally against the more established regions? Oh, okay. I'll repeat. It's loud in here. It's loud in here. What do you think about MSL? Considering that MSL is very new, do you think that despite MSL being new, that they're still able to compete against the more established regions?
โอเคก็คือตอนนี้ลีกของเราเป็นแบบลีกมาใหม่ใช่ปะเราจะแบบเฮ้ยเราจะซัดกับเขาไหวไหม
ก็คิดว่าน่าจะสู้ได้ครับ เพราะว่าถ้าเราเตรียมความพร้อมมามากพอ คิดว่าสู้ได้อยู่แล้วครับ แล้วก็คิดว่าในรุ่นหลังๆมาแน่
Okay.
We say that we are new right in MSL but we doing like we prepare so well so we able to fight with other regions for sure 100% and he said for the last that even now we can fight right but our younger generation we will be stronger than us so everyone should prepare for it.
Okay, everyone should be prepared because even the younger generations are on the way. They're loading right now, right?
These are the words from uncle.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Very interesting. Now, in this matchup, obviously, we've been seeing such an interesting meta. Very interesting meta right now. Do you think that this meta right now favors KOG? If so, why? If no, why?
ตอนนี้เป็นเมตาใหม่เข้าทางเราเปล่า
ก็คิดว่าเข้าทางประมาณหนึ่งครับ เพราะว่าเคเซนเป็นเพลเยอร์ที่เล่นฮีโร่ประเภทนี้อยู่แล้ว แล้วก็ซัพพอร์ตถูกบัฟมาค่อนข้างเยอะ ซึ่งก็ต้องรอดูครับว่านายจะทำผลงานได้ดีแค่ไหนครับ
It's a favor for us for to us for sure.
Okay,
because
favors.
our play style like Kesen or other players, his hero pool is suitable and fit to this meta, especially Kesen and Nice. And because many supports are buffed right now, so let's see that Nine gonna do it good or not.
Oh, okay. So we might be seeing some supports coming into this next best of one. So I'm going to wish you guys good luck. Thank you so much, 33.
Yeah.
And of course, Hiko. And we're going to throw it over back to the panel.
Thank you very much, 33. And Rachel Malati, let me just see. Number one, I have no shifts. I'm doing every game and I know where you live. Speaking of, combined age of 90 there, huh?
Yeah.
That's damn.
Dude, they were so self-aware. They called themselves August. This is the worst version of, they said like the younger generation is coming back.
And look at how comfortable they are.
Yeah.
Look.
30 gang.
30 gang.
30 gang. We got 33. Hiko,
Look at Brigida. She's worried when she hits 30. It's a new world.
It's a new world.